Well, another day, another bit of progress. It's a really warm day, nearly 40 Fahrenheit. We got water here, snow melting. The heck's going on? Anyway, there's a little bit of sandblasting on this here headlight bucket from the 53. Shined up the metal. I didn't find any more rust holes, so I'm probably going to just slap a bit of paint on there and call it good enough. A little more light on the subject. I made a little progress here, taking advantage of the warm conditions. I think I've got most of the bolts out of the fender. These lower ones weren't, well, actually, the metal is rusted away from the bolts, so the fender will come off without removing the bolts. This one here, twisted off. Two down at the bottom are no longer connected to anything. There's there were two right there, top side. Came out easy. And there was still one more holding that was kind of hidden out of sight. I hope the camera will show it, but deep inside the kick panel there's a bolt and nut sticking through. That's holding the fender in place. There was supposed to be one up in there, but it seems to have gone missing. I hope it isn't twisted off. Anyway, I'll find that out once I get the fender off. Assuming I get the fender off. The radio antenna is really hard to get at the back side to undo. The new fender doesn't have a hole for a radio since the 53 didn't have a radio installed. So if I want an antenna on that one, I'll have to drill a hole in the fender. But I guess that can be done at a later date. For now, I guess I got to see if I can get that last bolt out of the way and see if I can lift the fender off. So I will shut down the camera and get to work. Well, that wasn't too terribly difficult. Fender is now off. He's pretty rough. Gonna have to do a little bit of fabrication here for that lower rear quarter of the fender. There's literally a piece missing from here down to there. And of course there. And we won't even talk about the rocker panel because that's all history. I think this metal here will clean up and be weldable. I had to make a similar piece for the driver's side last year. That worked out alright. There's the hole where that hidden bolt was, holding the fender on. And other than that, I'm going to have to grind off the remains of these two bolts and the old fender. This piece I'm not sure. I think it may have to go as well. That's a piece I made last year. Very crude, but it does the job and it's out of sight 99% of the time, so it works for me. Anyway, I guess a little bit of cleaning up here is the next step. well, I'm thinking of it, and I've got it out in the open here. These are the rather unique, well, at least I think they're kind of unique, hinges on the 52 to 54 Ford Mercury products. The hinge is actually a part of this air box that conveys air into the driver's compartment. The I can't even see them, but supposedly there's some bolts in there holding the hinge onto this air box. Generally, if you're lucky enough to find used ones for sale, they won't be cheap, and they usually come with the air box intact. They tell me these are a pretty weak, easily damaged hinge, and I guess it's true, because the 53 that I got a couple years ago, the hinges were twisted and broken really well. I guess maybe a real good mechanic or welder could fix them, but I'm lucky to have a good pair on the 52 here. I guess they got oiled enough over the years, and they're still nice and straight. So knowing how weak they are, I'm making sure to keep them well oiled. So anyway, this is what you got to go through if you're going to take some off of a wrecked Mercury. Take off the fender and then start taking this off to get your hinges. But good luck with that. If you got a good pair, take care of them. The right front lower corner of the cab here needs a little more fine tuning, obviously, but it'll give me a place to attach the two lower fender mounting bolts once I got it welded in place. That's a piece of an old New Holland baler shield. So there you have it, 5 o'clock.